Another day at work. Hey,
I made it.
Tom.
I had to go poo. Oh,
really?
I go poo sometimes.
I am so glad you brought that up. That's fantastic.
I am too.
Okay, so you made a number 2 today? Have you made a number 2 yet today?
I did. First thing I did this morning.
Okay, I haven't. Ooh. Okay, so
You should get on that. You're behind.
Like you're behind. Get it?
Hey.
It's kind of like meatloaf. The 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Why did you just say meatloaf after a conversation about poop? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Rock and Roll the Podcast, featuring Dr. Nick Redbone, Tom Nelson, and me,
Brock Johnson.
Today's show is brought to you by
Power Plant Car and Truck Accessories on Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. I thought we were going to get a new jingle.
Well, he told me that he was working on
Yeah,
one.
and I've got it's not done enough yet. And not enough for me to actually do and, record.
But can you really improve upon Power Plant, Power Plant, Power Plant, Power Plant?
The answer is yes.
Yes.
And we could. Anybody could improve on that.
Sucked.
Anybody could improve on that. A 4-year-old with a xylophone could improve on that. Actually,
I have one of those Fisher-Price 8-key pianos at my house.
Uh-huh.
Could write a jingle on that.
Now I've actually been to shows that were worse than a 4-year-old with an 8-key piano. That's the truth.
You want to start name dropping?
Maybe later.
Yeah.
This is Rock and Roll the Podcast, episode 22.
Wow.
It's 22 episodes under our belt. And Brock told me that you're trying to get like a complete set. So you want all of the podcasts, including the first 5 awful ones I did by myself.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have the raw files on them anymore. If anybody wants to hear them, they can go to Podbean. Or they can do themselves a favor and just skip them.
Can we just download them from Podbean?
I don't know. Can we?
I don't know. I guess that's a mission for after we're done recording.
Okay. I will try and track them down.
Okay,
and
cool.
So just so we can have them all in one place. And
That'd be nice. Yeah.
And while we're taking care of business, you are getting ready to launch Rock and Roll the Podcast, the website.
.com.
Can we call it Rock and Roll the Podcast, the website?
Yeah.
Done. God,
Wow, that's sweet.
Rock and Roll
See?
the Podcast, the website, debuting on an internet near you.
Now that requires, if we do it that way, that requires 2 colons. Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
Are we going back to the poop thing?
That's it.
Oh, I'm with you.
Episode 22.
I'm with you.
Back to the poop thing. Actually, today today in I guess on paper we're going to be talking about singers.
Yeah.
The great singers of rock and roll, and
Which is something we've already done.
have we done singers?
Yeah.
We did frontmen.
Well, frontmen.
We did frontmen,
Yeah.
and we made a big we made sure to break up the fact that they are 2 different things.
Yes.
You can be a shitty singer and a great frontman.
Right.
They are different things,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we even said the drummer for Motley Crue was the frontman, and I stick to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean,
He sticks to everything.
yes, he does. And meanwhile, the lead singer of Motley Crue cannot sing or be frontman.
But that's true in a lot of rock.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
is.
I was thinking about that driving in this morning about it's going to be hard to find the best singers in rock because they exist.
Yep.
But when you look at all of the vocalists and all of the singers out there, you don't find many in rock that are like, oh,
right. Well,
Ivan Moody, oh my God. There's just, at
Sure.
least not in new rock.
right. Well, and here's the thing. I think you have to try and distinguish what it is you think is a great rock singer.
Mm-hmm.
Is it somebody who has classical chops and has this huge range, or is it somebody who just carries the message forward and manages to, once again, a song singer?
It's very subjective, man. I mean, it could be someone that has a huge influence on pop culture. They could be technically great. The definition, I think, is really varied, and that's what makes this kind of hard. When I was kind of boning up for all of this, I said boning up. It's like, wow. Nice facial expression.
Yeah. I looked into the camera and I felt uncomfortable because you said bone.
I feel a little icky myself right now. But,
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? If it helps, you look icky too.
Thank
I feel
you.
strangely excited.
Ooh.
And that's been Rock and Roll. I'm kidding.
Thank you for joining
So
us.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, and I do want to kind of differentiate, a great singer from a classically trained 4-octave voice singer. Somebody once told me early on when I was in my very first band, we were talking about how things are supposed to sound, what the singer should sound like, yada yada. And this was an older cat, and he said the great singers aren't necessarily the best singers. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, Michael Stipe from REM. He's not a great singer, and yet he's the perfect singer for REM.
For REM, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He doesn't sound like everybody else. He sounds like the singer for REM. I think that's a song singer. Sure. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and also, singing isn't just, being necessarily on pitch and being, the notes and everything.
Yeah.
It can be phrasing.
Sure,
and stuff
absolutely.
Too. So there's a lot going into that
Phrasing as
pot
in,
of being a singer.
The lyrical. And
the delivery.
Yeah, phrasing
Okay.
is like how many notes is he putting in per measure? How did he fit those words? He had this many words to sing. Where did he put the breaks? Where did he put the stops? Where did he the rhythm of the vocal itself?
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's so many subtleties to that too. Do you drag out your L's, in a song? Or
Exactly.
Like Frank Sinatra was a great phraser.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, he's not a rock and roll guy, so we probably shouldn't talk about him on the podcast. but-
Also, remember Frank Sinatra. He's dead.
So dead.
Like and subscribe. Now, speaking of great singers, and we're actually recording this the day we're supposed to drop this, so knock on wood paneling.
Hey,
And good luck. Steve Perry from Journey, 72 years old today.
holy cow.
Yeah, see, that
Yep.
was my reaction too, man. I was like,
How
what?
did that happen?
I know, right?
72 years old. And in my opinion, one of the best rock singers that's ever walked the planet.
Unquestionably.
Yep.
And the fact that they found another guy that can sound like him on the other side of the world. Arnell
Does it start with a P?
Yeah, Arnell
Patterson.
Arnell Popeye. Arnell Patterson.
He lives.
looks like Patterson.
He lives in Burley. For those of you that don't know, there's a furniture place in Burley called
Actually, I think,
Patterson.
isn't he Indonesian or Filipino?
Yes,
He
something
was
like that.
Filipino.
Yeah.
Arnie Patterson, frontman of Journey, and moonlighting as your wedding DJ.
Arnie Patterson, Journey. From now on, you realize we will only be referring to him as Arnie Patterson. Oh, well, there we go. We're already off to a great start.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
fantastic.
It
That's
feels so
fantastic.
good, doesn't it?
It really does. Now, one of the guys that we mentioned when we were doing the Frontman episode, and I mean, it almost starts and ends the conversation of great singers.
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
As far as like pure mechanics of vocal, he was not a classically trained anything. Not classically trained on piano, yet he could play piano.
Could have fooled me.
He wrote all of the lyrics and 95% of the music for Bohemian Rhapsody, and he wrote it out on napkins and scratches of paper, just laid it all out in front of the band, and then sang it. And then, in addition, was doing a lot of those harmonies to himself by him. I mean, it's just, who the hell does that?
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury.
Also very dead.
Also,
Yes.
remember, Freddie Mercury is also dead. Like and subscribe. See how I take the tragedy and I flip it around into
And you
something
made
that
it-
works for us.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful, man.
You're a salesman.
I really am.
Adam Lambert has done a fine job of
Unreal.
filling those shoes.
Yeah, he has exactly what it takes to fill those shoes.
Yeah.
He's flamboyant, looks fantastic on stage. His voice is unreal, and he is incredibly gay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
much.
So it was probably gayer than Freddie. Freddie.
That's a
Freddie
bold
wasn't-
statement.
Freddie wasn't really an open book, though, because that was not okay.
Yeah, and
when
and
was
Freddie
doing
had
his thing.
Freddie had a relationship with a woman, his best friend,
Right.
Mary Patterson. She's related to Arnie Patterson from Journey.
They're everywhere. It's a big family.
So many Pattersons, the Patterson family from Burley, all plugged into rock and roll.
Rock and roll began in Burley.
Anyway, she's the one that Freddie left everything to, like his entire estate, all of his songwrites, everything, all went to a lady.
Wow.
You know what's funny about that too? I've been thinking about this in previous podcasts. So because I'm old, and back in pre-internet days,
Right.
and it was just all radio. There's, sure there was, Burt Sugarman's Midnight Special, stuff that was on past my bedtime. You never got to see, and I wasn't buying like Teen Beat or something like that, these magazines. So a lot of times you didn't know, except for the album cover, what these people looked like.
Right.
And maybe in some cases, and in my case, Queen, I have to admit it, heard them on the radio, didn't really see any albums in the record store. And so I had this mental image of what Freddie Mercury should look like. And I saw him, and I'm like,
right.
Yeah.
And then you find out he's gay, and you're like, which is not a big deal, don't get me wrong.
And third home improvement noise of the podcast.
I'm going for the Tim Allen thing.
The second and third Tim Allen.
I'm going to adapt it. He's not dead yet, but he's close. Like and subscribe.
You did a great job there, neighbor.
Wilson? And not the volleyball.
No, we've already covered that.
We did. See, we're just on repeat, huh?
We really are. No, heavy metal.
Little known fact, Wilson, also a Patterson.
Wilson Patterson.
Yeah.
From Rupert, though. He was a cousin.
And you can meet them all this Friday night at the Patterson Complex in Burley.
Oh, man. By the way, this podcast and all of the awfulness that pours out of it brought to you by the Power Plant. They're on Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. They've got a Blaine, in my opinion, the best Blaine.
The best Blaine. Hands down the best Blaine.
He's the Blainiest.
Premium
He is
Blaine.
Blaney.
Premium Blaine. He's made in the USA. That the stitching is quality.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a better Blaine.
It's hand stitched.
And he's hand stitched. And you can, from what I understand, he hand stitches himself.
Ooh. That's taking it up a notch.
That's impressive.
Like and subscribe. And make sure to go see Blaine at the Power Plant. And what's their website?
Powerplantweb.com.
In case you're listening from somewhere around the country or around the world, get a hold of the Power Plant. You'll be glad you did.
Power Plant.
Power Plant. Power Plant.
Power Plant. Oh, look at you take it up a notch, bro.
A little Latin flavor there at the
wow,
end.
yeah. Look at you go.
Yeah, kind of makes you want to shake it. So
there will be no shaking.
There will be no shaking of it. This is not a podcast where we shake it. You know what? As long as we're talking about that, as long as we're about ready to veer completely off course, I had two interesting experiences with you guys involving the toilet within the last 7 days. I'd like to talk about them.
What was the first one?
The first one was you, Brock. You were walking into the bathroom, the sole toilet we have here in the radio complex, and you carried a beverage in with you. And you made sure I knew that you were going to do a number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. And you took a beverage with you. And I said, do you always take a beverage with you when you number
Absolutely.
2? Always.
Always.
Every
Always
time.
have a beverage.
So you've got a beverage and you're making twosies.
What happens if you get thirsty? It's not like you can waddle your way out into the lobby.
How long are you planning on being in there?
Ask my wife that.
As long as it takes.
She knows the record.
Okay, well now Tommy, you're not off the leash here either.
Okay.
Because was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
Yeah.
I walked in on you and nearly saw your little Thomas.
Who hasn't walked in on me? Brock has.
Walked in on you.
Other
Okay.
people have, and I think I locked the door.
Okay.
At least that's what I tell everyone.
Okay, now look.
I'm hoping to get busted.
That's what I think. I'm starting to wonder whether you're hoping someone will walk in and see your see your little Lutheran.
Hey, look, it's the boom mic.
Little Lutheran.
It's little Lutheran. I didn't know what else to do. Here's a simple trick though. If you look at the door, when it's turned up, the wall is up. That's how you know the door's locked. If it's flipped down, the wall is open, and anyone could walk in and see the little Lutheran.
Okay. I didn't get that first part. The wall is up if it's down on the side.
No.
Huh?
No. You know what? Let's just face facts. Both of us are probably going to end up seeing the little Lutheran. We're going to walk right in on him, and there he is.
And you'll be like,
there they are.
You'll be like, oh, holy. Something.
You know that Rob Halford was a great singer.
Holy smoke.
He's not dead.
You see how, and he's not dead.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. Was that too hard? Did I jerk the wheel too hard on that one?
Maybe a little bit. But
Okay.
That's okay. It's a Friday.
Heavy metal has a tradition of having the big leather-lunged screamers. And every once in a while, you'll get a great pure vocalist out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Rob Halford, in his prime, could sing anything.
He's still pretty impressive.
Yeah.
He did, and I guess it's not real recent, but when he did Lift Me Up
Yep.
with, was it Five Finger?
Yeah.
That was a good song.
Yeah, it was. Now that he has to stay in the new range that he has.
Well, I think that happens to everybody, though. If you go look at some of the classics who are on the road today, and then put their live performance today back to back with their live performance, 20 years ago, they're all playing a couple steps now.
For sure. And Halford painted himself into a corner with 40 years of high notes. He was the king of the high note. No one should.
When you set the bar, no pun intended, that high, it's hard to maintain it as you get older,
It really is. Another guy that comes to mind that was a phenomenal singer and also dead, and he was about as tall as my coffee cup, Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah.
What a phenomenal
Now that's a little Lutheran.
I think he was Italian, so he was Catholic.
Oh.
Remember, all Italians are Catholic. Like and subscribe. I don't know who I've offended more, the Italians or the Catholics.
I don't know what just happened.
I'm just pushing the envelope, baby.
We're just blanket bombing.
Exactly. We've had Lutherans.
You Lutherans?
We've had the Catholics.
We're used to it, though.
We've had Italians.
The Patterson complex.
Yeah.
Pattersons. The Pattersons. From Manila, Idaho. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. Now, another guy, but Ronnie James could do everything. He started off in the 50s singing doo-wop songs. I've seen pictures of him and heard the stuff.
Now, see, I didn't know that.
Oh,
Really?
yeah. Ronnie and the Prophets.
Wow.
Get out of here.
Swear to God. Go look him up and you see him. It's like, you recognize the eyes instantly. It's like, hey, that's Dio with a pompadour. Oh, man. And then he went from that. He ended up in a band called Elf. And Elf became Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow. When Ritchie Blackmore left Deep Purple, he found this band called Elf and just kind of turned them into his group. Suddenly, Ronnie James is the singer of this big rock stars band. Went from there to Black Sabbath. The rest is history.
Seriously, the band name was Elf?
Elf. Swear to God. Swear to God. I know lots about Ronnie James Dio. And strangely enough, I'm not a virgin.
Another guy who, and this, he's not one of the greatest singers, but it's fun to bring this up.
Please say it's going to be Billy Joe Armstrong.
No.
Later.
He is and I can't remember his name, but he's the front man of Flogging Molly.
For sure.
Before Flogging Molly, he was the front man of Fastway, which was an 80s hair band.
Dave King, I think is his
Dave
name.
King. Yep.
Dave King. Yeah. Yep. When you listen to Fastway, you can hear it too.
Yes, you
if
can.
you know Flogging Molly well enough, you hear his voice, and then you'll go back and listen to a Fastway record, and obviously the style's different, and the vocal, the whole approach is different, but that voice is still there.
And don't you think he sounds like the lead singer of Mental Block of Scorpions?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Klaus Meine.
Klaus.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's just fun to say the name Klaus.
Really?
I saw the Scorpions here about 15 years ago, and they put out a new record. And I can't remember what venue they played up in Boise, but he gets up, and he's another guy who's as tall as a thumb.
Right, little tiny guy.
And he says, "We are the Scorpions!" And they're, yeah! And we're going to play all of your favorite Scorpion songs, yay! And then he's like, and we're also going to play the songs from our newest album. Crickets. Nobody wants to hear the new shit.
Everyone's,
just play the classics.
Please just rock us like a hurricane, Klaus.
That's what
Please.
everybody's waiting for. In fact, if you just want to play Rock You Like a Hurricane for 2 hours, this crowd would be satisfied.
You gotta love the German language and German names in general, because their drummer. Now think about it. What's cooler than a heavy metal drummer? His name is Herman Rarebell. Only in Germany is Herman Rarebell going to be cool as shit. Here he's going to be somebody's biology teacher. Mr. Rarebell, I just peed.
I broke my beaker.
I gotta take my back pill. Mr. Rarebell.
Don't forget to take your beverage in the bathroom with you when you go.
Yeah, why? I don't understand that at all.
No, I dig it. I mean, I don't like.
Whoa! Wait a minute! Are you a pooper drinker too?
No, not on a regular basis, but I'm not against it. I'm not against it. It's not like I'm walking in there with a cheese plate or anything, but
that I saved.
That would be good. You do that at home.
At home, I always poop with a plate of cheese and a tub of cottage cheese.
That's right. You got some salami and some crackers. I'm just staying here forever and just keep pooping.
I got a refrigerator in the bathroom just for snacks.
If the flowing becomes too much, it's good to have cheese on standby.
There you go.
When I'm making a Tuesday, I like to nosh. in the voice of Michael McDonald. You damn right.
There you go.
Did you like that?
I did like that. You know I like
When
that.
Brock takes him a Tuesday, he likes to have a drink and a cheese plate.
I like you're using the word "nosh." That's nice.
I think that's the first time the podcast has heard Michael McDonald.
Michael McDonald.
I'm pretty fond of Michael McDonald. And now look at that segue. Michael McDonald used to be with the Doobie Brothers.
Also a fantastic singer.
Phenomenal singer.
And not dead.
And not dead. Sessions guy on a ton of Steely Dan records. They'd bring him in for backups because he had such a great harmony voice and he could layer on top of himself.
He's still out on the road. Well, not this year, but
right. Yeah, he's still out doing
Michael
it.
McDonald was actively playing shows right.
Oh no.
Well, at least it came out that. Okay.
Sometimes Brock's bodily noises scare him and he cries.
That's what just
Much
happened
like
there.
a 6-month-old. Like a big giant baby. He farts and cries for 2 hours. His wife has to put him in the car and drive around till he falls asleep.
That's fantastic.
On the way to Burley. Because that's the Mecca.
Oh, God.
Michael McDonald, though, there's a guy.
He is a guy.
Very distinctive voice and not dead.
And
Not dead at all.
like and subscribe.
And you.
Hey.
Power plant.
Power plant. Power plant. Power plant. Have you noticed we haven't touched on any ladies in this? Well, let me rephrase that. We haven't spoken of any ladies.
Favorite female
I
singer?
was touching on a lady right before coming downstairs.
Hey.
So was I, Brock, but we can't get into that now. Rosie, settle down. Things just got weird in the podcast.
Got awkward.
This
they
episode's
just
been
got weird.
This one's been weird from the beginning.
But I love it.
Favorite
And you do
female
too.
singer. Who's your favorite female singer? If you just had to pick one right off the bat.
Boy.
Ooh.
Mine's easy. Pat Benatar. Unreal. Unreal. She's once again the size of a postage stamp.
Right.
Her voice is as big as Mount St. Helens. Just tremendous voice, tremendous staying power. She's been doing it forever. Her hits were all huge hits.
Yep.
Completely dig her.
God, I'm trying to think of who my favorite female singer is. I don't listen to a lot of female singers. In rock, probably Lizzie Hale.
Okay, Lizzie. Oh, Lizzie the monster, man.
Yeah.
What a huge voice. Tremendous. Great pick.
Well, you probably know where I'll go, but it's almost a toss-up. I mean, Ann Wilson.
Ann Wilson from Heart.
Huge. Just peel the paint off the wall.
Yeah.
But Linda Ronstadt.
What an amazing voice.
Yeah.
And so sad that her health, the first thing that she lost was her ability to
Yeah,
sing.
adding insult to injury.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Clapton with his hands. Or, there's a multitude of artists.
Yeah.
Their thing, because of age or disease
Yeah.
or both, it's just like, we're going to take that away from
Yeah.
you now. Sorry. It was
Exactly.
a good run.
Yeah.
It happened to William Shatner from Star Trek. The first thing he lost was his dignity. And it was
Yeah.
back in the 60s. He hasn't had it since.
Nope.
Just terrible.
And his hair.
And his hair. And he's still alive.
Is he a movie?
Is he in Home Alone? No, you would know that.
You would know that. You would know that, absolutely. I think Ann Wilson from Heart, one of the most amazing things I ever saw her do ever, and I mean, she's done a million of them. She did Stairway to Heaven when the Zeppelin got the Kennedy Center honors, and she was the vocalist that did Stairway in front of the guys from Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Huge pressure gig and crushed it.
I bring that up on YouTube every few months. I just watch it over and over again. Yep.
Yeah, it's spectacular. So I think the point is there are a lot of great pure singers in rock and roll. Ann Wilson being one. Rob Halford was one.
Right.
Ronnie James Dio, another one. They could do that or go do Christmas carols and be just as great. Jeff Tate from Queensryche's another one that in his prime he was better live than he was on the album. Just an extraordinary vocal talent. But you don't have to be that super kick-ass singer to be an effective kick-ass singer.
Right.
Billy Joe Armstrong, and I'm going to give him credit. He's not a pure singer. He's not. You wouldn't put him in a cantata. But at the same time, when he sings, you can hear I put him and Springsteen in the same category.
You feel it.
You feel it
Yeah.
because he feels it. It comes right from his soul, and he belts it out from from a place in his heart, in his soul, and you can feel that there's an integrity to it. Tom Petty was not a great singer using under those under that classification.
Also real dead.
So dead.
Yeah.
So dead.
Yeah.
But when he did what he did, amazing. And he was a unique singer. He's the guy that, like, Don't Come Around Here No More is one of the weirdest vocals ever. He's almost meowing it.
There's another one. I can't remember if it was on Wildflowers or the She's the One soundtrack, which never got the credit it deserved.
Agreed.
It was a Tom Petty record, but it never made it anywhere because the movie didn't explode. But Honeybee, I can't remember if
Honeybee.
Is that Wildflowers?
I think that's Wildflowers.
I can't remember. And look at what he does on that song.
Oh man, yeah. And one of my side note, one of my very favorite songs to play on guitar. Just
Honeybee? Really?
Love playing Honeybee. It's so fun. Yeah, one of the biggest, nastiest riffs ever. Song takes almost no talent to play, which is why I can play the entire thing.
You talentless hack.
Thank you, Brock. Like and subscribe. Well, listen.
I don't think you can pick it up on the microphone. I think it was just when we screwed up the laptop. I screwed up the laptop thing that you could really hear the robble.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There was just the Hamburglers upstairs just losing his shit.
Yeah, and that's just him doing his work.
Yeah, that's just working. You should hear when he actually flips out.
When he gets into a screaming match with inanimate objects.
That's pretty fun. That's pretty fun.
I've seen him get into a screaming match with desks and mice, like not like rodent mice, like
the computer mouse.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Once a tree. He got
I've
real
heard
pissed
about the story about the tree. You've told me about the tree. This is real. This is real true life, by the way.
CenturyLink bared witness to the tree argument.
Yeah, none of this is made up.
Nope.
This is real. This happens in our world.
My favorite part of last week was when you came into my office and Robble was robbling, and you looked at me and you sighed and you said, I could have gone to college. Turned around and walked away.
That's 100% true.
That
I
happened.
Actually said that. As long as because the structure has now disintegrated.
Yeah, sure.
So we should cover kind of what we talked about earlier this week, late last week, about kind of what's going to happen with Rock and Roll the Podcast. It's still going to be Rock and Roll the Podcast because we're still three rock and roll guys. Once again, between the three of us, a zillion years of radio and playing in bands and yada, yada, yada. But to limit ourselves to just rock and roll topics it's going to cut into the life expectancy of the podcast. So we're going to kind of open things up. I mean, you'll still see a lot of it through the rock and roll lens, I think, for sure. Yeah. But we are looking forward to opening up
it's
to new
fun
topics.
to just sit and bullshit for a half hour.
We are
really
equal opportunity offenders.
Yes. So if you have any ideas that you'd like to hear us talk about or any topics that you think we've missed or whatever, please feel free to get a hold of us. You can. There's a number of ways to. You can drop us a note through any of our Facebook pages. I'm on Instagram, dr_Nick_Redbone. A zillion ways to do it. You could drop us a note right on the station, on the Edge Facebook page.
You could email
or the Balanced Rock Facebook page.
rockandrollthepodcast@gmail.com.
Rockandrollthepodcast@gmail.com.
Feel free to fax me if you'd like.
If you do smoke signals, that's weird. How the hell are we going to figure that out?
I'll watch for them.
Smoke signals?
Well, there's a certain kind of smoke signal.
Next month, join Rock and Roll the Podcast, broadcasting live from Ontario, Oregon.
Power plant!
Power plant! Power plant! Power plant! Road trip.
It's really getting better.
It's not getting better.
It's getting worse,
It's not
isn't
getting any better.
Okay, so look, what do you want me to do? You want me to bring a guitar down and do
Write the freaking jingle like you said you were going to do.
Okay, okay.
How do you top that?
Yeah, do you want? That's pretty good. That's kind of where I am. I think maybe
we could.
Oh, great! And that's it. Brock walked out of the podcast.
He's
and
done.
What put him over the top? Not me singing Michael McDonald about him pooping with beverages and cheese trays. That's not what put him over the top. It was the fact that two out of the three of us liked the jingle, and he said, "Screw that and screw you, I'm out.
I'm done. I've had it up to here.
I've had it up to here or wherever it is." Remember when I called Tom's wiener the Little Lutheran?
Yeah.
Remember when that happened?
Yeah.
That was fun. This has been a super good podcast.
It really has.
I'm glad that we've done this together.
Yeah.
Me too.
Do you think the power plant is glad to be attached to this?
Oh, boy, I can't even imagine how excited he is.
Ooh, I hope so. Hey, Blaine, we love you. Please don't drop us. Like and subscribe. I think that is Rock and Roll the Podcast.
Are we done?
Yeah.
I think that's Rock and Roll the Podcast for today. And remember, get a hold of us. Drop us a note. Leave comments. Like and subscribe. Share this with a friend. Share it with an enemy. But for God's sake, share it with somebody. We're loving how the podcast is growing. We want you involved.
Yeah, that last week's episode was
kind of blew up.
By far the quickest to grow.
Yeah, you guys really like it when we just kind of just fall to
Bang on
pieces.
Wolf
You
Van
ain't seen
Halen.
nothing yet, man.
Oh, yeah. If you want to see us get disrespectful, we're just winding up. This is going to be a good time. My name is
Hold
Dr.
your rolls, Wolfgang.
Oh, throwing it down. Woo.
You know what? He'd be able to hear you if it wasn't for the crinkling sound of the Cheeto bag. My name's Dr. Nick Redbone. That's Brock Johnson. That's Tom Nelson. Peace, love, and rock and roll. We are out of here.